Traffic: Why We Drive the Way We Do, and What It Says About Us. It's a book by Tom Vanderbilt, and this is a book review presentation by Jeremiah Vardaman. Traffic is a big issue, from LA to Moscow to Beijing. It's part of the human condition, and it's something we are all intimately familiar with. Tom Vanderbilt wanted to ask the questions: why is there traffic? How does traffic happen? And how can traffic be better? He looks at lots of individual issues related to driving and traffic, and he compiled research done by others and presents it in his book. There are many reasons for why traffic happens and why we drive the way we do, but I'm only going to present a few here. Many of his examples are from Los Angeles because it features extreme traffic, and I can attest to this as I used to live close to there, and the traffic is quite terrible. His organization can be described as neat and tidy. He has descriptive titles and clear subsections breaking up his information well. He goes over human psychology, analyzing traffic conditions, as well as potential solutions. Throughout his book, he inserts humor and personal anecdotes in the form of jokes and witty remarks and real stories. And I like this because it connects with the reader in a way that's not normally done otherwise. One of my favorite jokes, he asks, "Are you a raving psychopath on wheels?" Please check, never, sometimes, or always. And I like this because he had this in between a bunch of information, and it broke it up nicely and put a smile on my face. One topic he goes over is that of individuality, and that the identities become lost on the road. When you're driving down the road, you're in your own metal cage. Everyone else is in their own separate metal cages, and you're all in your own subworld. There's a lack of eye contact and a lack of personal connection. And this is an issue because brains were developed to be social. And when we don't have that connection to other people, we tend to not think of them as people. They're simply other cars. As such, drivers have little regard for other drivers on the road, and this gives rise to selfish driving. It's the idea that drivers tend to do what's good only for them rather than what's good for all the other drivers on the road. To understand traffic, one must look at individuals driving. And the first thing to know is driving is extremely hard. Sometimes things just don't go the way we plan them, and we feel like cats rolling down the road not knowing what we're doing. Before I go any further, please do me a favor and watch this video. There are two basketballs. I want you to count how many times the players in white pass the basketball. Congratulations if you got 15. However, did you see the gorilla? He's right there. Many people, when watching this video, are so focused on the basketballs, they don't notice that a person dressed up in a gorilla costume walks right through the frame. And this is because brains are good at focusing on one task, such as trying to keep track of the basketballs. We fail to see the whole picture much of the time, which becomes an issue on the road because roughly every second, according to Vanderbilt, there are 1,500 items to observe. That's an extremely large amount of items, and this is everything from processing the what's in front of you, the trees, the road, the car positioning, to even things such as sense of speed and things you're not subconsciously thinking about. And it's an issue because simple distractions cause us to lose focus. If you're only focusing on even a few things, such as maybe one car out of 50, you're ignoring all the other items that you need to observe. Another topic that Vanderbilt talks about is that of norms. Laws and norms are different in different parts of the world, as well as cooperation with the rules. This image here is from New Delhi. It's quite a different picture than that seen possibly in New York, or LA, or Sacramento, or even London or other places in the world. Lanes are not well defined because it looks like everyone's ignoring those lanes. It's also difficult to see where the road starts and ends. The cars and people seem to be interacting on a much closer basis than what is normal here in the United States. Laws are just norms that have been codified, and I think this is an extremely true quote by Vanderbilt. How is there traffic? Well, shared time windows for one. Everyone has to go to work, everyone has lunch, many people go out for lunch, and everyone has to leave work, and that tends to happen all around the same time for most people. And that affects the vehicle flow of the road because more cars on the road, or enough cars on the road, and you hit critical density of that road. Because roads are designed to only have a certain capacity, and once that capacity is reached or exceeded, the road flow is impeded. Human predictability is also a reason for traffic. Speed of driving is something that it's an odd one because Vanderbilt found that people drive differently at different speeds, or when they are behind someone or there's other cars around them, even though they're not consciously thinking that they're driving differently. And the same thing goes for perceived safety and speed. People tend to drive faster on the highway, not because they're allowed to, but because the highway is bigger and feels safer. They go faster. This applies to any road, highway or otherwise. What are some potential solutions to this? One is real-time traffic monitoring, which many cities have already. However, many cities are also trying to make it better, with faster signals and better systems. Another idea is that of a congestion tax. Tax people when they're on the road during the busy hours, so you increase incentive to travel during other hours, off hours that are not the typical morning, noon, and evening rush hours. A company called DriveCam adds systems to monitor drivers' performance, and this helps because it gives them real-time feedback on how the driver is doing. If everyone has such a system, then that's for the benefit of everyone, and everyone can be made to drive better, although challenging to implement. Alternative transport has always been a fantastic solution because if you can take many people off the road and put them into a train or a bus and decrease their footprint on the road, then you are reducing the amount of people that actually need to take up a section of that road. Also, better road designs. It's hard to determine what the best road or intersection design is, and there are different examples throughout the entire world of road and intersection designs. They all have the same basic layout. Cars go one way and come the other way, and there's lanes. But who's to say what the perfect design is? Perhaps we haven't reached it yet. Also, human weirdness. And humans are weird. We do weird things, and we mess up a lot. Human error. We are the greatest risk factor out on the road because humans are unpredictable. We throw off systems and traffic models due to this unpredictability. Road deaths are vastly outnumber murder deaths or terrorist attack. And we kind of ignore this and keep driving because we have to keep the status quo. We have to keep moving on because everyone has to get to work. Everyone has to go out and get food for their families, and people have to pick up their kids. Life has to move on, and we want to preserve what we have because it seems to work. But at what cost? Cars are safer than ever. But is driving actually safer?